Arrested in 2016 and sentenced to 7-year jail term in 2020. But in a dramatic turn of events, the appeal court has struck out the conviction of former PDP spokesperson Olisa Mitu and ordered that his trial begin again. And tonight on the program, we keep our eyes on the rescue of the abducted students of Government Science Secondary School, Kantara, as we bring you an exclusive interview with the man in the eye of the storm, Governor Aminu Masari. Hello and welcome. You're watching Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Kayode Kikulu here in Lagos. It's been 5 days, that's right, 5 days since the abduction of over 300 students at the Government Science Secondary School, Kantara in Katsina State, and still they are yet to be rescued, over 300 of them. Information on their rescue indeed has been few and far in between. But tonight on the program, we'll get first-hand details on the fate of the boys as a nation and the whole world watches with rapt attention. But first, let's tell you about this case that has lingered for 4 years. It's the 400 million naira money laundering allegations which were leveled against the former spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Olisa Mitu, by the People's, or rather by the EFCC. Well, yes, the case may have come a long way at the Federal High Court, even getting to the point of conviction with a 7-year sentence to go with it. But then today, the Court of Appeal reversed all of that, and now the conviction has been nullified, and the case now has to begin all over again. Oh, that's right, from the very beginning. A 3-man panel of the court, led by Justice Stephen Adda, in a unanimous judgment held that the proceedings of the Federal High Court leading to the conviction of Mr. Mitu and his company were tainted with bias and therefore must not be allowed to stand. Justice Adda, who delivered the lead judgment, held that the utterances of the trial judge, Justice Okonabank, in the course of the trial established that he was biased against the convict. This is coming just 10 months after Justice Abeng sentenced Mr. Mitu to 7 years in prison for fraudulently receiving 400 million naira from the office of the National Security Advisor, which was then headed by Colonel Sambo Dasuki. A lot of Nigerians will indeed remember the court proceedings for some dramatic scenes in court regarding the health status of the former spokesman. He has appeared in court on a wheelchair. He has appeared in court also in a stretcher, and in May 2018 he collapsed while making his way to the dock for cross-examination. Well, that's not the only reversal that was pronounced today. Elsewhere, but this time at the executive arm of government, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the immediate opening of 4 land borders in the country, while other land borders are to be opened by December the 31st, 2020. The borders to be opened immediately are Seme border in the southwest, Ilela and Megatari in the northwest, and Mfun in the south-south. The decision for the reopening of the borders was reached at the end of the virtual Federal Executive Council meeting, which was presided over by the Vice President earlier today. President Buhari, who is on a private visit to Dora in Katsina State, also joined the meeting virtually. Well, the land borders had been closed since August 2019 as part of efforts to curtail smuggling and illegal importation of drugs, small arms, food and agricultural products into the country.
The President has approved the recommendation of a committee which I chaired with the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment as member, Minister of Interior, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Security Advisor, the Controller General of Customs and Immigration. This committee was mandated to review and advise Mr. President on the opening of the Nigerian borders. And after our work, we recommended to the President, and Mr. President has approved the reopening of the 4 land borders, namely some southwest part of the country, Ilela in the northwest part of the country, Maitagari in the northwest and north central part of the country, and Mfu in the south-south part of the country. So these 4 land borders will be opened immediately, while the remaining borders are directed to be open on or before 31st of December 2020. Mr. President has also directed that the reopening of the borders, while the borders are being reopened, that the ban on the importation of rice, poultry, and other banned products still subsists and will be implemented by the border patrol.
That's right. But just before we get into the big issue tonight on the Kantara abduction, there's more happening on the political scene with our political roundup.
The Senate is extending implementation of the 2020 capital budget to March 31st, 2021. It will also hold a special session to consider and pass the 2021 budget on Monday, December the 21st. The extension of the implementation of the capital budget is in response to a request from President Buhari for an amendment to the 2020 Appropriation Act. The capital component of the 2020 budget is expected to run concurrently with the 2021 budget when passed into law.
We want to ensure that our committee does work and produce a very clean document, so they can't present this report today. However, they said the report will be ready by weekend.
As Nigerians await the release of the kidnapped students of Government Science Secondary School Katsina in Katsina State, the Nigerian military is assuring residents that it will continue its kinetic operations until all the students are rescued from their abductors. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the coordinator of the Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche, confirms that all the abducted students are alive and the military is already intensifying efforts to ensure they are reunited with their parents. General Eneche, however, appeals to Nigerians and all residents to continue to assist the military with credible and timely information that will enable them reduce acts of insurgency and kidnapping to the barest.
They are intact and then we rescue them like that, whichever way, head or tail. So that is the situation as at this morning, and I believe short when I came here, if there is anything I would have told you, I would have relayed it to you accordingly.
Now to a big issue. Governor Masari needs little or no introduction. He's been in the news consistently for the past 5 days, infamously, over the abduction of over 300 students from Government Science Secondary School, Kantara, in Katsina State. He is our guest on the program tonight. Good evening, Governor, and welcome to Politics Today. The whole world is watching, and there's no gainsaying in actually putting it to you that a lot of people are concerned about the fate of the boys. So let me just begin by asking, how close are we to rescuing those schoolboys?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for your concern of many Nigerians with regards to abdication of these young, innocent children from a boarding secondary school. The situation now is that the reports we are receiving from security agencies is that they have managed to geolocate all where the pupils are, and the whole area is surrounded by members of the security forces, but they are not firing a shot because we don't want to have collateral damage. We want to make sure that the children are brought back safely. This is the current situation, and I think discussions and negotiations are still ongoing.
You know, as at Saturday, just over the weekend, we had reports. In fact, the presidency said that the bandits' hideouts had been located along Zango Paula Forest in Kantara, but it appears they may have moved. Is that true?
No, I think most, if not all, the children are somewhere within Zamfara Forest. So far, I think all the security agencies have been almost all the parts of Katsina State But majority, like I said, even though all of them are located in Zamfara forest, and the areas where they are located are known. And like I said, the security forces, they have informed me that they have surrounded all the areas so that there will be no place of escape, but we are still not the level of where we can state kinetic actions. We are waiting for non-kinetic approach that will be able to rescue without any collateral damage.
Well, speaking of that non-kinetic approach, there were talks that you had made contact with the bandits. So if that has happened, and that's days ago, by the way, why is it taking this long to get those boys back to safety if indeed you are speaking with the bandits?
Let us understand this very clear. What I said was, that was on Monday, that one of the bandits called the parent of one of the children they have abducted and complained about airplanes that are flying over them, the Air Force. Then also said they will demand money, but he didn't say how much, when, but from that time up to this time I'm talking to you, that source went dead. But through the leadership of Miyata Allah, the national leadership, I think discussions are ongoing. We have started talking through them, and I think positively we'll hear something very soon.
So you're saying that you've not been in contact, or your government has not been in contact with the abductors?
I personally have not been in contact with the abductors, but like I said, the leadership of Makaban has made contact with us as a government, and has also made contact with some of the people that are being suspected to have abducted the children.
So who's leading this negotiation, if you could tell us? Who is in charge of this negotiation with the bandits?
It is not about who is in charge. There is no one particular person, but we as a government, like I said, at state level, it is the Commissioner of Police, the Director General, the Special Security Advisor on Security that are discussing with the leadership of Makaban, who in turn they are also talking to some of the leaders of abductors. This is the current situation now.
Can you tell us, when last did you hear from the boys now in particular? Because yes, you say there are talks on another level with the bandits, but when last did you hear from the boys?
I had a brief discussion with the Commissioner of Police and Director Assets and the Security Advisor just about 2-3 hours ago, and they have gone back. We are waiting to hear from them.
So at this point, we've not heard about the well-being, the welfare, or the state of health of those boys. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think in terms of the children are alive, and we have not received any report anyone has fallen sick. So we assume that all is well with the children, but a very uncomfortable condition, intolerable condition, and a condition that really you can best imagine. But with regards to health, this is the situation.
Well, still on the health of the students, there are reports going around that a certain students that may have escaped was quoted as saying some of the students died in the process. Can you confirm that?
I think it's not true. It's not true, because of the students who escaped. I was there in the school on Saturday, and I met some of them that escaped. And also on Monday, I got a report of those who made it to their parents' house. And one or two that came to the school premises, nobody reported death of any student. So that was highly speculative.
Well, we'll work on getting that connection back with Governor Aminu Masari as he explains to us the process of the negotiation. Well, Governor Masari, we have you back. So please land on that statement just before we move on.
All right.
Please go ahead. We lost you at the point where you were talking about whether or not the children or some of the students died, according to reports going around on social media.
that I was in touch with at least two of the students that escaped on Saturday. And I was also in touch on Monday with two that came back. And with the four that have been reunited with their families, none of them reported any of the students dying. We haven't got that report. That report is not, we have no confirmation of it. In fact, I'm hearing it from you for the first time that some have reported that some of the children are dead. I haven't heard about it. And the report I have, none of them is so far declared dead.
Well, it is gratifying to know that the students are still alive, as you have said. But help us understand, because, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, there are different reports going around. I would like to hear officially from you regarding this. So, who is responsible for this abduction? Are they bandits? Are they Boko Haram terrorists? Or both? Or something else we're not looking into? Just who is responsible for this?
The reports we have, from the information available to us, this abduction was conducted, executed by the local bandits that are known to all of us. These are bandits that are roaming the forests of Zamfara and parts of Katsina State. So far, this is the information we have. And even from the leadership of Makaban, this is the information we have. Whatever role any other terrorist group might have played, we are yet to confirm it with any empirical evidence.
So are you ruling out the involvement of Boko Haram or any other terrorist group in this particular attack?
I am not absolutely discounting any foreign, either ISWAP or Boko Haram, indirectly working with the bandits. You know, for well over 1 year, there were signs that some of the elements of the bandits are making contact with some of the elements of Boko Haram, the ISWAP. So, but with regard to this abduction, we have not seen yet any direct involvement of Boko Haram or ISWAP. However, we are watching developments. We are seeing through the evidences we have. We are going through the tracking system that we have in place to find out if there is any linkage. So far, we are yet to find the linkage.
Well, Governor, we're due for a break in 2 minutes, but let me take you up on this because I recall a federal government delegation visited Katsina State, and the Minister of Defense at that meeting that you had was quite vocal, and he was sure. He said that this mission was going to be quite simple, but 5 days after, we're still trying to find our way around. So what exactly is responsible? Because the minister gave his word. We had other government officials also speak highly about this mission and the prospects of it. So what is responsible really for this time lag?
Well, actually, part of the problem is that we don't want to fire a shot. So that none of the children is either wounded or killed. So that is what is restraining members of the security forces from opening fire, either from the ground troops or from the Air Force. That's why I said we are now working on the non-kinetic measures to make sure that the children are safe. So I think it might be the responsible for accounting for this delay. Certainly the Honorable Minister of Defense, together with service chiefs, promised that it's going to be a simple operation that they intend to complete within 2 to 3 days. But for those who that are on ground, the information we have, yes, they have encircled where the children are suspected to be under captivity, but they are restraining themselves from engaging into using firearms because of the safety of the children. Let us see what it develops from today and tomorrow.
All right, we'll stay hopeful. But Governor, we need to go on a break now, but when we return, we'll like to get specifics on the number of students that are still unaccounted for and the kind of conversation you're having with the abductors, as well as some other issues that have come up in this process. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to the program. If you have questions, concerns, worries, you name it, about the Kantara abduction, then this is the place to be. As we speak with Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State, he's been speaking to us about the process leading up to this day. Don't forget, it's been 5 days since that infamous abduction at government-signed secondary school in Kantara, Katsina State. And at this point, over 300 students are still unaccounted for. So many issues to be raised. What exactly is happening right now? What is the state of the boys, their parents? Really, so many questions. What is the government doing? That's the big one. That's the absolute big question. What exactly is government doing? And how are we sure that government is not treating this with kid gloves? So many questions, like I said. Well, this is the place to be. But just before we reconnect with Governor Aminu Masari, let's bring you up to speed with some of the big stories happening on the political scene today. Don't forget that the former spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Olisa Mitu, got some reprieve at the court earlier today. Well, his conviction, recall that 7-year imprisonment that was handed down to him in February 2020, well, that conviction has now been overturned, and the Court of Appeal has ordered a retrial in that case. A 3-man panel of the court, led by Justice Stephen Adda, in a unanimous judgment held that the proceedings of the Federal High Court leading to the conviction of Mr. Mitu and his company were tainted with bias and therefore must not be allowed to stand. Don't forget, you can catch that story as well as other stories on our website at channelstv.com. But let's rejoin Governor Masari, who joins us virtually this evening from Katsina State. Thank you for staying with us on the program, Governor. Now, let's get this clear. How many students are still unaccounted for at this time?
At this time, based on the available record this morning, we are looking for 330 to 400 students, because some of the students, it has been very difficult for us to contact their fathers because of the communication. But I have ordered open register in each local government so that if anybody has not seen his child, she will report back at the local government headquarters. So at the end of the day, we know how many of the children are not back. But from the records we have, 867 minus JS3 and SS3 students who were already on vacation before the incident took place on the register. And out of them, we have so far seen 465 of them. So we are talking about a number of 401 or 402. But that depends on the contact we are making with the parents. Some of them are in the state, some of them are living outside the state, to confirm, because some of the children have found themselves way back home, not through the school authorities or through the government agencies. So let's say we're looking at 400 to 402 maximum.
Well, Nigerians will also like to know just what kind of conversation you're having with the abductors. Is it a negotiation? Is there are there plans to pay a ransom? Just what is the conversation like?
What I told you is the Macban.
Well, we'll definitely try to reconnect with the governor, just trying to make that point about just what kind of conversation the government is having with the abductors. He tried to clear the air earlier on about the involvement or the possible involvement of terrorists. So let's return to the governor now. Please go ahead.
What is happening now? The leadership on Yet Allah Makbar is the one that we are talking with. like I told you before, that this discussion with the Commissioner of Police, the Director Agents, the Special Advisor on Security, discussing with the leadership of Miyata Allah Makaban, who are also discussing with those that are suspected to have abducted the children. So this is the way we are talking to them. Like I said, we had a meeting about 2 hours ago. So I am waiting for a feedback with regard to what we have discussed.
Well, there are parents. Yes, there are parents who are disappointed in not just the federal government, but your government. In fact, one of the parents was saying, well, she went all out to vote for you during the elections, and now people mock her because of what just happened. And that was credited to Premium Times. Just a moment. Let me land on this. Just a moment. So the question is,
let me also respond.
I have not even asked the question, Governor.
Look,
I've not even asked the question yet. I just want to know, a lot of people are wondering, as a chief security officer, just what are you doing, really? How are you taking charge of this process?
Look, I have a responsibility for 402 children that are missing. I am quite aware of my responsibility as the chief security officer of that security apparatus. And let me tell you, I am doing all that is possible to support security agencies to recover each and every child safely. I am not shying away from my responsibility because I know that I will answer not only in this world and then hereafter. I am the leader, so I'm not shying away from my responsibility. Parents have every right to be angry. Citizens have every right to be angry. Everybody has the right to be angry, but anger should be tempered with caution, with understanding that we are doing the best we can. Parents may be talking about their children. I am talking about 402 children which I am responsible for securing their lives, their health, their freedom and their well-being. I am more concerned than anybody on this. Yes, I am chief security officer. No governor can tell you he's not chief security officer. But without means of violence, I have no control. It's not only me as a governor, all governors. But this is the constitution. This is the system. So we are working within the system to make sure things are made better. Please, we are more than concerned. More than concerned, more than you.
All right.
More than anybody else. I think the only person, the parents, we cannot look at the parents in the face and tell them that we are more concerned, we are more care. But I tell you, between me and God, whom I know I will answer, I am more responsible.
Right. So I think it's only fair to just present the fears of the parents to you to respond to them. But still speaking of the parents, how often do you interact with them, give them an update on the mission? When last did you speak with the parents?
We have a desk office in the school. We have a desk office in the Ministry of Science and Tech, who are responsible for the school. So we are keeping update, and we are also using our local media to update people on what is going on.
Well, Governor Masari, I know you initiated this peace initiative such that when bandits drop their arms and surrender, there's some form of reception they get, and then, of course, abductees are released on the other side. How has that fared in this process? Have you been able to use this initiative in getting or trying to get the students back to safety?
First, let us get the children back. My concern now is getting the children back. Whatever method is possible, we are going to follow to make sure that they are back. We will do that. What we will not do, we will not negotiate with money to bandits. That we will not do. We have other means and ways, like we have started discussing with them to get the children released. The initiative we had in 2016 paid very well for 2 years until circumstances from our neighbors made the entire exercise to fail. The attempt of 2019 after election, which was supported by all the service chiefs, and a conference was held here in Katsina. We participated. I went to every nook and corner where these bandits are. I had a dialogue with them. But where did it lead us to? It led us to where we are today. Because one, they have no central command, and most of them are insincere. So, I mean, where you don't have a central command, with whom are you going to talk and make sure that all bandits will comply? So that's why we are now using the umbrella of the hardest, that is Makaban, to see what we can do now.
So in your assessment, seeing what has played out, how would you rate that initiative? Would you say it was successful?
Which initiative?
The peace initiative.
Well, like I said, the one that we had in 2016 succeeded for 2 years until there was no equivalent programs, especially at that time in Zamfara. But 2019 initiative started from Zamfara, which we keyed in and worked our own quota. But entirely it failed, both here in Katsina and Zamfara and all other places. Ask all the governors of Northwest and some in North Central. It failed because there was sincerity on the part of us. We did all the deals that what was agreed upon, but in return, we never had the peace we have agreed upon. So that's what brought us to where we are today.
So for the benefit of viewers listening, those who might not be aware or who might not understand the idea behind this initiative, are you saying that you have stopped it, especially the one you began in 2019?
No, I think we worked out because they have worked out on it. So we are not on any peace negotiation, and we went out of it long time ago because they have failed on their part to honor. So it is the responsibility of security agencies to do what they are supposed to do under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And our responsibility is to make sure within the available resources of the state, we have given support to the security agencies, which I can proudly say that we have done the best we can. The records are there. What we have been able to support, what the security agencies are doing with regards to restoring peace and normalcy in Katsina State and other states that are neighbors.
Well, Governor Masari, incidentally, President Muhammadu Buhari is in Dora, Katsina State, just a few hours from where that abduction took place. And you have met with the president. And for a lot of people, that was a beacon of hope, seeing you meet with the president. And they expected that right after that meeting, they would hear some positive news regarding the rescue of the boy. So if you could tell Nigerians, what was the outcome of that meeting you had with the president?
I saw the president on Monday, and I briefed him on the current situation. And I'm sure of which I know his security officers have also briefed him. And we are doing a lot behind closed doors. I think what is going on now behind closed doors is extremely important, and it requires the support and prayers of everybody so that we get out of this mess in one piece. And I'm sure the president is concerned. The security agencies are concerned. They have slept there. They are there in the forest areas, securing the areas to make sure that no attempt is made to change the location of the children by the bandits. So I think a lot is going on. As I'm talking to you now, I'm sure the leadership of Makaban is also there talking to the leadership of the abductors to see what can be achieved before now and tomorrow morning.
You said earlier on that you have no control over security. And I want to believe during your conversation with the president, you raised some of these issues because it will seem you're powerless in some areas. Did you get any definitive word?
These are issues that need not to be raised. Are you not aware of the Constitution? Is the security not absolutely preserved as the federal executive exclusive list? Are you aware of the Constitution? I'm not saying anything that is new. What I'm saying is something that is constitutional.
Well, we have seen governors. I understand. We have seen governors try to tinker with the security, call it community policing, just in a bid to gather more intelligence in the areas. I mean, it's no news that your state has been on the short end of banditry over time. So what are the moves, especially in your sphere, to get intelligence?
Policing, vigilante security. We in Katsina State, we have even amended our local government act to allow for village community security council and the district council and also the local government council. We have involved the most all within a village community to form a security council. From there, we amended our laws so that we give teeth to the local intelligence gathering mechanism and to give the local leadership under the village head, under the district head, a much more important role to play in security, because we realize that these are the people at the lowest level. If you have the village heads, you have the head barbers, you have the head butchers, you have the imams, you have the priests, community leaders, they will be able to have information of who comes in and who goes out. Thus, we have amended our local government law so that these organs can function legally within the state security apparatus.
Governor, still staying with that visit to the president, I'm sure you've seen a lot of questions, comments from Nigerians asking just why the president has not visited the school. Did you get any response regarding that?
You go and ask the president. I didn't ask him that.
All right.
You go and ask him.
Well, it was you that met with the president, Governor Masari, and a lot of Nigerians would like to know if that came up. But let's talk about the Safe Schools initiative.
Even your correspondence is in the part of the entourage of the president. Ask him to ask him.
Well, why ask him when we can ask you? But let's talk about the Safe Schools initiative, Governor, because we know that this has been a big issue prior to this, just right after that Chibok abduction. In fact, Nigeria was one of the countries to get into that initiative, Safe Schools initiative, such that schools have reinforced infrastructure, armed guards, training of the staff of the school as safety officers. There's also talk about school counselor visits, a school security plan. It's like a fail-safe plan, really, an initiative to ensure that schools are safe. Has that been effective or in play in your state?
Well, what we have done, all our boarding schools are secured. We have fenced them, and we have provided the civilian part of security guards and the police. In every school, we have a minimum of 2 armed policemen. Recently, after the incidents, the Inspector General has directed that there should be 5 armed mobile policemen in each of the boarding schools. But because we don't want to create a panic, we close all our schools. But the security men will continue to be there, because in all the boarding schools, we also have teachers living there with their families, and they need protection. So with regards to securing, especially for the girls' secondary school, not only have we secured them within where they are, we have already provided barbed fencing to make sure that there is maximum security that we can afford to provide in all our boarding schools. So I think we are working with the Nigerian police, the security, Nigerian civil defense, to make sure that all installations, apart even from the schools, are properly secure.
What is your biggest challenge when it comes to security, maybe banditry, but generally security? What would you say is your biggest challenge that we've had this linger on for this while?
You see, since we came in 2015, it was what we met. Prior to our coming, toward the end of 2014, over 140 people were killed in the local governments by the bandits. This was the situation we met on ground here in Katsina. And we have been able to do the best we can to control the situation. And other influences also came, because Katsina as a state cannot survive alone. Other parts of the state, of the country, especially in the northern western part, you know, this forest area where most of this problem is coming from, not up to 10% of it is in Katsina state, but the majority of it is in Zamfara, some parts of Kaduna, and some parts of Niger, even up to Kebbi, to Sokoto. We are all involved in this. So our biggest challenge is to restore normalcy so that government can be able to go in and provide infrastructure for education, health, and agriculture. I think since we come in, security has been our main problem. After we have overcome all the hurdles of Boko Haram and others, and cattle rustlers, then it turned out now to banditry and the massive kidnapping. There was a meeting in Abuja about 2 weeks ago, and I briefed the council from Northwest that the biggest challenge facing the Northwest by bandits, kidnapping. Not up to 7 days of my submission, this kidnapping in Kantara took place. So the reality is our biggest challenge is this issue of security. Without security, very little can be done. And I appeal to people that security is our collective responsibility. Yes, we as leaders, we must show leadership, but it is our collective responsibility. We all have a role to play. These people are our neighbors. They live among us. Some of us inform them. Some of them direct them. Some of them give them medical treatment. Some of them supply food to them. Some of them supply intoxicant to them. All within the communities. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it ourselves?
Well, Governor, as we work hard really to rescue the boys, there are talks about a possible recurrence. And in fact, let me say there are fears about a possible recurrence. Are you prepared for such? Governor Masari, are you there? Okay, well, he's there, but the network is frozen. So we'll try to get him to respond to that question, as well as some other allegations that have came up. Governor Masari, well, thankfully we have you back. So I was talking about fears of a recurrence, a possible recurrence. And the question is, are you prepared for such?
I think we have taken necessary measures. First of all, the schools are closed. They will only be open when we are sure that security is 100% guaranteed, and also that these young children are back as soon as possible, and before we now walk our talk.
Well, two more issues to raise with you. We have to close in about 4 minutes, Governor. Now, there have been allegations that between June 2015 and June 2020, your government squandered 52 billion naira. I'm sure you are aware of some of these allegations making the round. Let me begin by asking you, have you looked into those allegations?
Please, we are in court on this. We are in court on this. Let the court decide. If somebody tells you he squandered this money, you have to have the money before you squander it. Where did the money come from? Please, we are in court on this.
All right. On a final note, Governor, what has this abduction, this attack, and of course the abduction, what lesson has it taught you moving forward?
What moving forward is that we should be more proactive in security. And there has to be public involvement, community involvement, everybody's involvement. There has to be massive sensitization for people to understand that security is everybody's business, not only government.
So when you say we, how do you segregate it? What should the people do? What should the government do?
The people should be
well, that time is not a charm at all. But, well, we've been speaking with Governor Aminu Masari, who is the executive governor of Katsina State, shedding some light into the abduction of the students in Kantara. Well, Governor, we have you back, so let's just get your closing statement as we wind down on the program.
Well, you ask what the people should do.
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
People should provide concrete information, reliable information. People should not mislead security agencies or should not sell the security agencies to bandits. By so doing, they are not only endangering the lives of the security, they are also endangering the lives of the community at large. And I will also call for prayers and support to all government security agencies and report us if there is any security agent that is not behaving the way he should behave. And we, as a government, we have opened a situation room. We have numbers that we have provided that people can give us information if there is miscarriage of justice or some of the security officers are not doing what they are supposed to do. And for security officers, they have signed and sacrificed that this is their job. So do your job, please. That's my appeal.
On that note, we would have to thank you so much, Governor Aminu Bello Masari, the governor of Katsina State. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the program, and we wish you the very best in the rescue operation.
Thank you.
5 days, we don't hope to count further. So we'll keep our eyes on the situation in Kantara, Katsina State. But until then, I'm Katsina. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.